Okay, well, hello. My name is Lisa, and I live in Pacifica, California, and I normally work as a paralegal. We actually just moved back to San Mateo County, which is where Pacifica is, which is where I'm originally from, after 10 years near Sacramento. And I expected to be able to move here and start working as a paralegal again, and I was very excited about it, but I got really, really sick. Right before I moved, I had lost a lot of weight, like 60 pounds in probably a couple of months only. And I was thirsty all the time. And it turns out, I just found out a couple months ago, that I have type 1 diabetes, which is the type that is usually diagnosed in childhood. It's known as juvenile diabetes usually, because I didn't have any of the hereditary normal signs, somebody in my family having it, or being severely overweight or inactive, or, there's certain things they look for. So the doctors where I moved from completely missed it. So I was losing a lot of weight. This is really embarrassing. Some of the stuff is really embarrassing, but I feel like you have to talk about it so that you can recognize the signs. I had to pee constantly. I was thirsty constantly. I was always tired. And I was throwing up a lot. And I went to the emergency room a bunch of times, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. So flash forward to about 2 months ago, I was finally formally diagnosed with diabetes here in this county after moving. But by then, I have all kinds of health problems now. And I'm still really early on into the treatment for that. So basically, I didn't realize that diabetes affects absolutely every cell in your body. Like, nothing in your body can function without it. So everything from your feet to your eyesight to increasing your risk for kidney disease, heart attacks, strokes, you name it. And that is, it can cause death, which is obviously the most serious consequence, but just your day-to-day life trying to control your blood sugar, the fluctuating of your mood and your energy levels, like, it's been very debilitating. So it's been pretty hard, and I wish that the doctors had caught it sooner, because they mentioned it might be a possibility, but they didn't seem to take it seriously, so I didn't either. I was too caught up in other things, moving and other stressful situations that happen in your life. You don't want to think about other things like that, but you really, really have to, because now, so I've got to see like 7 different doctors. I take insulin twice a day right now. I have to inject myself with insulin. I check my blood sugars there's a thing in my arm right now that, I scan with my smartphone, and it actually tells me what my blood sugars are, and they just fluctuate up and down, up and down, up and down. Like, you're supposed to be between like around 80 and 180 is your blood sugar, is what's supposed to be, and 180 is supposed to be like after you eat a meal, and your body's still processing the food. But when I went in the hospital in January, I was over 800. And they're able to do blood tests and somehow they're able to tell like your average over a few months. And my average was over 600. Like, I was literally off the charts. So I probably would have died if I hadn't gone to the hospital. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
Thanks.
I totally feel you. I understand that. It's not easy. Sorry.
Yeah.
And, what are the main signs that you wish you would pay attention to those signs a lot earlier?
Starting off was how I was losing weight really quickly, and just the fact that I was, really thirsty. I was peeing a lot. When I would go to the emergency room when I was throwing up, I would look at my lab work because they couldn't tell me what was wrong with me, and I could see that my blood sugars were elevated. And I've always had a sweet tooth, and I thought maybe that could possibly cause diabetes, because my daughter, she's now 17, but when she was junior high, let's say, her and her friends would joke about McDonald's is going to give them diabetes. That's actually not true. You have to have a number of risk factors in order to get type 2 diabetes. But type 1 diabetes can be either something you're born with, or it can be caused by damage to your pancreas. So type 1 is like you're born that way. Like your pancreas is unable to produce enough insulin to break down the glucose in your body into energy. And so that's why people are usually diagnosed in childhood. But there's another kind which can be caused by things like having pancreatitis, which you can get from certain medications. You can get it from drinking, heavy drinking, because your pancreas is what controls your insulin. And so instead of being born that way, you can actually either cause the damage, or something like cancer, or, something can damage your pancreas and basically mimic being born that way. It's like the same. So that's why there's some doctors call it type 3C diabetes, type 3C. And some are just, they reject the idea that there's a third type, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me, because I feel like they're two completely different things. They have two completely different causes. You know what I mean? Like, but the doctors, I guess, because of the fact that, that the symptoms are the same. You know what I mean? The treatment's the same. The symptoms are the same. So they're just like, no, it's just type 1. But the doctors were real quick to not explain that to me. I have paperwork that still says type 2 on it. So you got to really ask a lot of questions and do your own research. If you find yourself losing weight, if you find yourself thirsty all the time, hungry all the time, fatigued all the time, they believe, I think it's something like 1 in 5 diabetics are undiagnosed currently, like at any given time. So it's something that, and if you talk to any medical professionals, they're like, everybody has diabetes at a certain age. So it's very, very prevalent. It's very, very dangerous. If you do happen to have it and you have the type 2 that you can control without having to take insulin, you want to catch it early, because you have way more hope. You don't want to let it till you're starting to lose hair and losing teeth and, all kinds of things. You could lose feet. You could end up on dialysis, and there's just so many, like I said, I found out it affects everything in your body. Absolutely every cell in your body is impacted by this, and you never know what is going to be impacted. So, it's pretty easy to, they call it the 3 Ps. I think it's peeing a lot, being hungry a lot, and being thirsty a lot. And they all start with a P, their formal medical name.
I see.
Yeah, but it's something pretty easy to,
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry that I know that you're going through all these things. By any chance, do you recommend, or do you have any idea what kind of things would prevent to get diabetes?
Well, I know for type 2, if that's the kind that comes on later in life, that has a lot to do with your eating habits. So if you know that you're at risk because you have a family member that has it, if you have an immediate family member like a grandparent, parent, sibling, then you are at high risk. And that risk increases if your BMI, your body mass index, is over a certain amount. So that has to do with your weight. And then there's other factors as well. So if you know that you're at increased risk, then, you got to start exercising and, watching the carbs in your diet. It's more carbs than it is sugar, because your body processes it all the same. So any kind of white flour is processed just like white sugar. So, I know it's kind of like cliche when they say, exercise more, eat better, drink more water, but now it's like, I have no choice, because if I don't do that, I could die, because insulin alone isn't necessarily enough to control it. Mm-hmm. So, but you can make small changes when you're, if you know it's something that you're at risk for, you can make small changes. So that's something. And if you've ever had any kind of damage to your pancreas, if you've been a heavy drinker and you've had pancreatitis, or you've taken certain medications, get it screened, ahead of time. And if you're ever in the emergency department, anytime you get lab work, I would always look at it yourself, because it tells you on your lab work, the paperwork that they give you, there's a range usually for each thing. It'll tell you what your lab work tested as, and it'll tell you the normal range. And I kept noticing my blood sugars were higher for years, a couple years, were higher than the normal range. And I would bring it up to the doctors, and they kind of blew me off. So being, your own best advocate, advocating for yourself, doing some research, and sometimes you have to present it to the doctors, which it shouldn't be that way, but it is, But, yeah, I wish I'd taken it more seriously. And one other thing I just want to add, because we were moving, and we were moving away from my daughter's dad, who, that's a whole other issue. I thought that I needed to put her first. Like, I want to make sure she goes in school. I want to make sure she has everything she needs. Like, I'm putting my health on the back burner. And that was dumb, because I ended up in the hospital, And, so there's that other old cliche. They say, if you're on an airplane and it's about to crash, you put your oxygen mask on first and then on your kid.
Well, that's what a mother does, like taking care of the kids first.
Yeah.
I agree. Feel free if you have anything else, any message to your kids, your friends, your family member, or someone.
Oh, I just am so sorry to my daughter. Like, I feel so bad. But, I've got more hope now, because it got to the point where, like, I was having trouble walking even. And now I'm not having, like, you saw I was able to carry some bags.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I was calling, like, Ubers to go across the street to the Safeway that we just passed, because I couldn't even cross the street with groceries. I was very, very weak. So, one other last thing I'd like to share. So now, the reason why you had to pick me up just now, at the Pacifica Resource Center, they have like a food bank there. And in addition to, groceries obviously are expensive for everyone, but I have to eat tons of produce and sugar free, and, all this healthy stuff is really, really disgustingly expensive and prohibitive for a lot of people. And I haven't been able to, work like I normally do since we've moved here because of this. So I'm going to the food bank to pick up all these groceries, and thank God for them. They have like things I couldn't afford yesterday. Like, I spent $5 on a can of pumpkin, for smoothies, because that's something that's healthy,
Yeah. But yeah, Pacifica has the best community. I love Pacifica.
14 years ago. I mean, I was 30. So, and I'm 44 now.
I see.
So it could be all from, all this fatigue, all this times where, I didn't feel like myself anymore, like I did when I was younger. Obviously, you think when you age, okay, that's normal, I guess. Everybody's tired or whatever, but it is a lot more than that. So, but let me say, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Chat Passenger, for more stuff like this, more interviews.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Feel free if you have social media you want to share with people. If it's up to you if you want to or not. Other than that, I think I don't have any other question.
Okay.
And yeah, we can end the interview here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And I wish you good luck from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
With everything. I hope everything gets better for you.